Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to create a dependent drop-down list. So what is a dependent drop-down list? For example, here we can see that I have a list of appetizer for my selection here. However, when I change the input in A2 here, let's say I change it to dessert, then my drop-down list will change to a list of desserts. If I change it to, say, for example, main, then I can see my choice of the main courses. This is a dependent drop-down. In this video, I will show you how to do it with indirect and tables. And in the second session, I will show you the use of dynamic arrays, which is available for Microsoft 365 users. Let's see how we can do it. To create a dependent drop-down list, the data preparation is the key of success. Now I have prepared the 4 independent lists. So I have a list of course, a list of appetizer, a list for the main course, and a list of the dessert. Also a list for drink, but I will leave it alone here for the moment. That is for showing you how to add a new categories when it is required. The first step we have to do is to turn these 4 independent lists into 4 different Excel tables, and we have to do it one by one. Now I select the range here, go to Insert, Table. Make sure to check my table has headers. Okay. And then I am going to rename this table to Course. Next one, appetizer. Insert, Table. My table has headers. Okay. Now the rename step is critical. We have to rename this table exactly identical to the items that are available for selection under the course here. You will see why in a moment. To ensure I spell it perfectly right, I'm going to copy the item appetizer here, and then go to this table, rename this table to appetizer. Enter. Now repeat the step to main and dessert. Insert, table. My table has headers. Okay. This is the main, so I'm going to copy this. Go back to this table, rename it as main. For dessert, insert, table. My table has headers. Okay. Copy the word dessert, select the table of dessert and rename it to dessert. Okay. Now I want to create my first list of drop-down, which is independent. Basically, I want to define what a user can select from for the course. Select the range here, go to Data tab, Data Validation. Allow a list. The source will be a simple function using indirect. Open parenthesis, double quote, and then input course here. Make sure I have spelled it correctly, which is the table name of this table, course. So that actually it refers to the content that is available in the table, course. And also make sure we have checked this box in cell dropdown. Okay. Now we have a list of course for selection here in this range. So let me input something here. Okay. Now we are ready to create the dependent drop-down list here. I select the range, go to Data, Data Validation, List. The source will be indirect, but instead of hard coding this to something called main, appetizer, or dessert, because we want it to be dependent. Dependent on what? dependent on the content on A2. That's why I'm going to input A2 here. And because I want the list to be expanded going down in this scenario, so I'm going to remove the $sign for the row. That means I want it to be row relative. I'm okay. Check it out. We have a list of appetizer here. For this one, dessert is selected. We have a list of dessert. For this one, we have a list of main. For this one, we also will have a list of dessert. Of course, we can change it to appetizer. Then we will see a list of appetizer here. As simple as that. What if we want to add new items to the list, or even a whole new category, like we have a selection of drink? It is super easy. For example, we have a new category, drink. I just drag the drink or input the drink at the end of the table clause. Then in my first drop-down list, I can see the drink, but I do not see anything. Actually, I cannot open the drop-down here because there is no reference to the drink. So we have to turn this list into an Excel table. Insert table. My table has headers. And you know what? We have to rename this table to drink. Once it is done, we can see that we can open the selection drop-down here and we can see a list of drink. As simple as that, super easy to maintain and update. What about new items to the current list? Okay, for example, for appetizer, we have mushroom soup. We want to add seasonal fruit to dessert, and we want to add salmon to the main. We just add the items to the existing tables. Then we will see them appear in the list automatically. If you have subscription to 365, you should be able to use dynamic arrays in Excel. With dynamic arrays, we can solve the same problem with a simpler setup of table. Indeed, we only need one Excel table, like this. In this format, a table of two columns, one for the clause and the one for the corresponding items. Now, let me turn it into an Excel table. And I'm going to rename my table to menu. Makes sense. On top of the table, we will list some helper formulas by using dynamic arrays functions. The first one we are going to use is a very cool function called unique. It returns the unique value from a range of cells. So unique, open parenthesis, select the range here in the table, and close parenthesis, enter. Wow! It returned a unique list. And the interesting thing is the result spilled. What does mean? We have input only one formula in cell H2. However, it returned three items and is spilled into the cell H3 and H4. But when we go to H3 and H4, we can see that the formula bar here, the formula is grayed out, meaning that actually it doesn't has the formula in the cell. The formula is sitting in the cell of H2. What that means? That means actually I can input something in H3. If I do so by input A8 here, I've got an error called spilled. What does mean? Because the result to be returned by this formula from this position cannot be spilled because it is being blocked by the content here. So it returned an error. When we select the cell here, we can see the dotted side here. That means it expects an area with nothing here in order to return the result. If we go to H3 and remove the content here, we will see the result coming back. Now we've got a list of the unique item. We can create our first drop-down list here. Data validation. List. Here, instead of hard-coding the range, because this is dynamic, it may expand depend on the number of unique items in the range. So we are not going to select a hard-coded range like this. Indeed, we just need to point to the first cells, which is H2. That is the origin of the spelled formula. And the key here is the pound here, the hashtag. Okay, now let's see what we have. We have a list of items here for the course. If I add something, ABC here, because this is a dynamic array, it calculates instantly when I have something new here. ABC appears to be here. That means it will show up in the data validation list here. We have ABC here instantly. Wow. Beauty. So let me undo it. Now we want the list for the dependent dropdowns, which is dependent on the input here. So for example, I have appetizer here. I should be able to see only the appetizer from the list. If I have dessert here, I should be able to see the list of dessert here. Now, I need some more helper formula to achieve that. What do I need? I need a function called filter. What do I want to filter? I want to filter the items under menu. What to include? When the cost is equal to the selection we have input in A2. Okay? If A2 is empty, this is an optional parameter, then nothing will be displayed. Now, wow, I have a list of dessert because dessert is being input here. When I change it to appetizer, see that? It instantly recalculate and show me a list of appetizer. Now I input it as a main, then instantly I've got a list of main. You may expect that we are ready to create the dependent dropdown list here by going data validation, list. For the same token, we are going to refer to this number, J2, and then put the pound size, the hashtag at the end to indicate that this is a dynamic array, and then OK. Indeed, it works. When we change it to a different input, we have another list of items here. However, in this approach, it is not easy to duplicate the dependent dropdown list here. What I mean is, I cannot simply copy down. If I copy down, I won't get the result expected because the list always refers to the dynamic array here, and the dynamic array here always refer to A2 here. So no matter what I input here, I input mint here, I still see a list of dessert only because actually it is referencing to here, and this is referencing to the input in A2. This is where the tricky part comes. For this one, I want to copy the list down in the same way on my interest form, on my entry form here. So I want to turn this vertical result into a horizontal result. I can do that by adding transpose here. Then I have a list of dynamic arrays in the horizontal layout, meaning that I can copy that. For example, I am expecting my entry form all the way down to row number 10. So I just prepare a list of dynamic array down to 10 here. Now when I copy this, okay, I will still see that, okay, it is not working as expected because let's go back to our data validation rules and find out the reason. The reason is that here, the source, we are referring to an absolute reference, $J, $2. We have to remove the row absolute reference to make the row a relative reference. We remove the $sign for number 2. Now I'm going to press OK. Before that, I'm going to check these ports. Apply these changes to all other cells with the same setting. Okay, now we are ready. This should return a list of named, and this should return a list of nothing, because nothing has been input here. When I input dessert, instantly I have a dynamic array of dessert appear here, so that in the drop-down menus I have the dessert. Here, if I input mint, because here I have the mint, the dynamic arrays showing the mint here, so that I will have a list of mint. This is the idea. And the beauty of it is, it is super easy to update. When I have a whole list of items, including a new category, drinks, independent new item to the existing list, appetizer, dessert, and mint. What I need to do is to simply drag them to append them in the original table. Then everything updates instantly. That means I have the updated dependent and independent list here. This is drink. I can see that drink appear all here. Then I have the drink here to be input. Bravo! And this is the beauty of dynamic arrays.